Culture, conditioning, and everything that told you who you should be. You were taught to build a self-image, not to discover yourself. And that's the trap. The deeper truth, the person you think you are, isn't. Beneath every title, trauma, talent, and trauma response lives something ancient, untouched, and whole. Carl Jung called it the self, the blueprint of your total being. But most people mistake the ego for the self and spend their lives polishing a mask, while their soul remains starved. Here's the kicker. The self isn't found in achievement or through external validation. It emerges when illusion collapses. When you stop chasing perfection and start listening to your inner life, everything begins to shift. The shadow loses its grip. The unconscious mind starts to integrate. Suddenly, you're not reacting from wounds. You're responding from wisdom. And no, this isn't just spiritual fluff. This is practical philosophy. It's the art of living rooted in authenticity, discernment, and real transformation. And it doesn't take a miracle. It takes presence. In this journey, you'll learn how appearances distort judgment, how expectations imprison identity, and how the heart, not the intellect, leads you home. You'll understand how the power of I am can rewrite your story and how compassion disarms the ego. If you've ever felt lost, fragmented, or disconnected from your truth, this isn't a coincidence. It's a calling. Because once you awaken to the self, you don't just change your life. You reclaim it from the inside out. The illusion of appearances and the trap of judgment. People often forget that what they see isn't always what is. The human mind is wired to judge based on appearances, whether it's someone's clothing, tone of voice, or social status. But this habit can cloud discernment and hide the true essence of a person. Carl Jung taught us to look beyond the mask or persona to find what's real beneath. Many miss out on profound wisdom simply because it comes from an unexpected source, like a janitor quoting philosophy or a child voicing deep truths. The unconscious mind can express itself through unlikely vessels. Judgment, however, acts like a fog, blurring the lens of perception. This conditioning runs deeper than most admit. People judge a message by who says it, not by what's being said. It's as if value is determined by packaging. A stranger on the subway might offer more insight than a self-help guru with a polished brand. That's why the art of living demands humility, seeing with the heart, not just the eyes. Self-awareness is the compass here. The moment one questions, why do I dismiss this? They begin the individuation journey, peeling back layers of ego and expectation. And this shift in awareness births a new kind of vision. The real trap isn't just judging others. It's believing those judgments are facts. Someone might appear confident, yet battle crippling self-doubt. Another might seem aloof, but is simply shy. The shadow plays both ways. We project onto others what we refuse to see in ourselves. It's easy to mistake kindness for weakness or silence for ignorance. In truth, these perceptions say more about our own internal dialogue than the people we evaluate. The more mindful we become of these reflexes, the more room we make for truth. When relationships are filtered through layers of assumptions, they fracture. Expectations act like silent scripts we hand to others without their knowledge, and get angry when they don't follow. That friend who didn't call, the partner who didn't read your mind, the boss who didn't praise you, they all fell short of a role they never agreed to play. True connection starts when we trade expectations for presence. That doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop controlling. This is the birthplace of compassion. And yet, even after all this, the hardest judgment to release is the one pointed inward. People become prisoners of their own perfectionism, mistaking flaws for failures. But what if the very crack is where the light enters, as Leonard Cohen put it? What if the path to wisdom isn't paved in flawless steps, but in real, messy, human ones? Here's where the next truth starts to unfold. What if the way out of judgment is to break free from the expectations that gave birth to it in the first place. Breaking free from external expectations and finding inner power. Most people are walking around wearing masks they didn't even choose. From an early age, the human mind gets shaped by layers of shoulds: how to act, what to achieve, who to be. These expectations, often inherited unconsciously, create a quiet war between the self and the world. Carl Jung called this dissonance a split between the persona and the true self. When someone lives by someone else's script, they forget the art of living begins where comparison ends. Disappointment, then, isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that someone was living by borrowed dreams. Let's face it, chasing approval is exhausting, and it never leads to true self-acceptance. The moment one realizes they can't please everyone is the moment they begin to please the right person, themselves. Wisdom starts by recognizing that not even perfection earns freedom from judgment. And that's liberating. The real power lies in owning imperfection. Whether it's a failed business, a breakup, or not having it all figured out by 30, these aren't signs of defeat. They're proof of growth. Personal growth doesn't follow a calendar. It follows consciousness. Authenticity isn't found in rebellion, but in alignment. It's not about rejecting the world, but choosing not to be ruled by it. A practical step: start with small decisions. Wearing what feels right, speaking your truth in a room that prefers silence, creating a schedule that honors your energy. These aren't just choices, they're affirmations of identity. Over time, the unconscious mind starts trusting the conscious one. That's when self-trust takes root and external influences begin to lose their grip. People often think letting go of expectations means becoming careless or chaotic, but it's quite the opposite. When you no longer operate from fear of disappointing others, you become radically responsible for your own life. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's freedom. That's the shift from living reactively to creating intentionally. Think about it. Who are you when no one's watching? That's the real I am, the inner sanctuary, the center of your spiritual empowerment. This doesn't mean the path will be linear. There'll be moments of doubt, guilt, and old voices whispering you're doing it wrong. But even then, something deeper awakens, a sense of presence, a silent knowing that your worth isn't conditional. And from that still point, something begins to stir, a different kind of intelligence, not of the mind, but of the heart. And perhaps, just perhaps, that's where true wisdom has always lived. The heart space has a center of wisdom and stability. While the mind races to control, calculate, and label, the heart simply knows. It doesn't argue or demand proof. It feels, it intuits, it perceives beyond logic. In the realm of Carl Jung and depth psychology, the heart space isn't just poetic. It's a vital axis of self-awareness and inner life. It's where energy flows freely and where unconscious content finds expression. The heart, in its quiet power, is often wiser than the intellect. And yet, most people are taught to silence it in favor of cold rationality. That's like asking a river to stop flowing. The electromagnetic field of the heart is stronger than that of the brain, a fact confirmed by science, not just metaphor. That field influences how we feel, how others feel around us, and how we connect with collective consciousness. Ever walked into a room and felt tension before a word was said? That's the energy of presence. When people begin practicing mindfulness or heart coherence, like slow breathing or focusing on gratitude, they shift their entire frequency. This isn't fluff. It's physiology and energy working in harmony. Living from the heart doesn't mean abandoning logic. It means integrating it with something deeper, discernment. A mind without heart becomes rigid. A heart without mind becomes naive. But together, they form a kind of inner dialogue that births wisdom. If someone wants to access this, they could try something simple. Sit in silence, place a hand on the chest, and ask, what do I really feel right now? Not what you think, what you feel. That one question can open doors the mind is kept locked. Emotional balance is what aligns us with authenticity. When someone suppresses their feelings to keep peace or gain approval, they fragment their identity. But the moment they give space to all emotions, grief, joy, anger, love, they step into their full power. This doesn't mean acting on every impulse. It means witnessing without judgment. From that place of presence, people start living as who they are, not who they were told to be. That's the threshold where individuation truly begins. And once the heart space becomes your inner sanctuary, a surprising thing happens. You stop needing external stability. Even when the world spins in chaos, something inside remains unmoved. That center becomes the source of your perception, your responsibility, your truth. And it quietly whispers something forgotten in the noise. You are not broken. You are becoming. And that becoming opens a doorway to something far more mystical. Your relationship with the I Am. The power of I Am and the nature of conscious creation. There's a reason spiritual masters, mystics, and even philosophers across centuries have revered the phrase, I am. It's not just a statement, it's a portal. In the depths of consciousness, beyond thought patterns and inherited beliefs, lives this quiet truth. The self is not a label, but a presence. Carl Jung explored how the self-archetype represents the totality of the psyche, not just the ego. When someone says, I am, they're not identifying with roles or appearances. They're anchoring into existence itself. That's the birthplace of spiritual empowerment. Most people define themselves through what they do, own, or have experienced. I'm a teacher, I am divorced, I am successful, all of which are stories, not truths. When someone strips those layers and simply says, I am, without adjectives, what remains is raw presence. That space is creative, alive, and expansive. This is where personal growth truly begins. It's from this state that affirmations work, not because they're magic spells, but because they align identity with intention. Saying, I am enough, with presence, rewires the unconscious mind over time. This is conscious creation in action. When someone lives reactively, they repeat patterns. When they live intentionally, they begin to create. Think of how athletes use visualization, or how performers anchor into their best selves before going on stage. It's all based on energetic preparation. The same applies to daily life. Before an important meeting, affirm, I am clear, I am grounded. Before bed, I am safe, I am loved. These aren't empty phrases. They're keys that unlock access to the self beyond fear. And here's where things get mystical. The more someone embodies, I am, the more their external reality begins to shift. Not because the universe is a vending machine, but because their perception changes. The shadow loses power. Old narratives dissolve. New choices emerge. Energy reorganizes. In psychoanalysis, this is often seen when a person reintegrates repressed parts of their identity. They become whole, and life reflects that wholeness. This isn't about bypassing struggle. It's about transforming from within. Yet, none of this sticks without presence. Presence is the silent witness behind every I am. It's what allows someone to access their inner sanctuary in the middle of chaos, to speak truth in the face of rejection, to act with authenticity even when afraid. And that presence, once cultivated, begins to see through another illusion. The illusion of separation, of judgment, of them and me. And that's where the next doorway opens, the path of compassion and oneness. Transcending judgment through compassion and oneness. It's easy to judge. It takes almost no effort to slap a label on someone or something and move on. But compassion? That's a whole different game. It requires presence, patience, and the courage to see through illusion. Carl Jung emphasized that what we judge in others is often a reflection of our own unconscious material, the shadow projecting itself onto the world. So when someone gossips, irritates, or intimidates you, pause. Ask yourself, what part of me am I rejecting by judging this? That single question can dissolve a lifetime of bias. Compassion doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It means seeing the humanity underneath it. When you understand someone's inner pain, their actions make more sense. This doesn't excuse, it illuminates. Think of someone who constantly brags. Instead of labeling them as arrogant, try seeing them as deeply insecure, seeking validation they never received. That shift in perception transforms your emotional response. It's the difference between being reactive and being conscious. It's the art of living with an open heart and a wise mind. As judgment dissolves, something extraordinary happens. The illusion of separation starts to crumble. The lines between you and others blur, not in a way that erases individuality, but in a way that reveals interconnectedness. Spiritual traditions from every corner of the globe speak of oneness, but few live it. When you truly grasp that every person is a mirror, a teacher, a fellow traveler, you begin to live from the heart space. That's where energy flows without resistance. That's where real healing begins. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's practical transformation. Next time you catch yourself judging, try this. Breathe deeply. Place your hand on your chest and whisper, just like me. That person wants to be loved, just like me. That person makes mistakes, just like me. That person is learning, just like me. It's not about being passive. It's about choosing presence over pride. And when you start living like this, you become less concerned with appearances and more attuned to truth. From this space of non-judgment, neutrality emerges, not as apathy, but as inner balance. You stop swinging between extremes. You stop clinging to right or wrong, black or white. You begin to see life through the eyes of the heart, where every experience holds meaning, and every soul holds a spark of the divine mystery. And from that place, the journey doesn't end. It evolves deeper and deeper into the psychology of the self. So now, let's get honest. What are you really looking for? Is it success, recognition, peace? Or is it simply the relief of finally being you? Unfiltered, undivided, unafraid? You've just walked through the layers that separate the ego from the self. The question is, will you apply it, or just admire it from a distance? Because this isn't about collecting insights. It's about choosing a new way of being, every day, every moment, especially when it's inconvenient. The mind will resist. The world will distract. But the self waits patiently every time you turn inward. What judgments are you still holding on to? What expectations still define your worth? What story about who you are needs to die so something true can be born? Your transformation doesn't begin with a guru or a ritual. It begins with one decision: to stop abandoning yourself. That's the starting point of individuation, of self-awareness, of authentic power. And once you taste that alignment, when your mind, heart, and soul sit at the same table, there's no going back. That's the real kind of wealth: presence, clarity, and peace in your own skin. So now I challenge you, not with fear, but with fire. Will you continue to perform for the world? Or will you turn your life into a sacred rebellion against everything that isn't truly you? If you're ready to go deeper, if you're hungry for more than surface-level spirituality, then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This channel is your sanctuary for truth, transformation, and total alignment. Don't just watch. Engage, question, become. The self isn't somewhere out there. It's been waiting within you all along.